So this is the second episode of the trip to Turkey, August 2nd to 9th. In this episode, we're going to look at some controversial findings on the street. So if you don't like controversial things, then maybe switch ahead till you see a picture of the Istanbul card, because that's going to be next. We'll talk about transportation in Turkey, and then look at the metro tram and metro bus, and then the last thing we'll think about is banking and cash. So we'll just jump right into it. And the first thing, we're looking at a couple of controversial things on the streets. So in the news, you may have seen the Turkish president is very supportive of Hamas, and so there was this sign and a donation box below it, and this was in Sultan Ahmet area, tourist area, and it says, "Hello Hamas, continue the resistance." And like it says here, there's a donation box below where anyone could donate cash to Hamas, including Americans and people from the EU. So I was a little bit surprised, but as I saw in the news, I thought it might be a lot of Hamas and pro-Palestinian stuff here in Turkey, but there really wasn't that much. There was this box, and there are a few places like this with a watermelon, and a couple locations where they had a advertisement for a rally or for praying for Palestinians, but not as much as I expected. And then I'll tell you a little story before we talk about this thing, but I lived in Turkey for 4 years, and there used to be a lot of beggars on the street in these locations these boxes are now, and there's no beggars anywhere. But they used, students and other Turkish people used to tell me they were part of a company that sometimes does amputations and plastic surgery on these people, and then they will beg in the street for money, but they give a certain amount to the company. So it's kind of really disgusting business. But all those people are gone, and they've been replaced with these boxes, so I don't know if it's the same company, but it'll show a child with some sort of illness and then tell you to donate. And there's audio asking you to donate. And so I don't know if it's a real child or anything. So I recommend you don't donate to these places, because it seems like it might be that really bad company that was using Syrian refugees and homeless poor people before and using them to make money. So I wouldn't advise to donate to these things. But now we get to non-controversial stuff. We're past the controversial things on the street. And when you arrive in the airport, there's different kiosks you can buy the Istanbul card, and I recommend you buy it. I've seen a lot of comments on different Turkish tourism Facebook groups and things where people are worried about transportation and they want to spend a bunch of money on a guide or taxi, but you really don't have to do that. They don't really advertise the Istanbul card in the airport, but if you ask, where can I buy a Istanbul card, there will be a place where you can buy it. And it's 130 Turkish lira, which is, at that time, Turkish lira was around 34 to $1, so that's about $4 or so. And you can put cash in it right there as you buy it. Like I gave them 300 Turkish lira, so I got the card and then 170 Turkish lira on the card. And you can also add money at pretty much every metro and tram and metrobus station, and you can just add cash there right away. So here's the prices I wrote down, because I ended up using a lot of the different public transportation options. And so there's two metros. There's one on the European side, and there's one on the Asian side, and the metro has different prices. European side is 22 and Asian side is 20. And then the tram is 20 on both sides. And then the metro bus is almost 30, 29.69. And they used to have these things where you could scan the metro bus card after, or the Istanbul card after you use the metro bus, and it would give you money back if you didn't do the whole line. But they still have the box that you used, but when I scanned it, it just rejected it. So you just get charged a full $29.69 no matter how many stops you go to now. So that's unfortunate. But the last one is the ferry, which is $28.17. I also saw a lot of people asking about where you can get a really cheap boat that you'll be able to see the Bosphorus. And actually, the cheapest option is just to take the ferry from Eminuna to Katakoi and back, and you can see the whole Bosphorus. You'll see the Blue Mosque, you'll see Maiden's Tower, you'll see nice houses along the Bosphorus and all that. It's about a 25-minute ferry ride, so you can sit on the top deck and get some nice photos of all those things. There's also, as you're going to see in the later episodes, I went on a dinner cruise, and that was pretty nice to see at night. But that one was a bit more expensive. I think I paid $55 for that. So $28 is what? That's not even $1. Here's a look in every metro stop and every tram stop. You're going to see this picture. It's going to show you all of the... So I broke it up here into 3 different slides, but you're going to see all of the different lines. And this is kind of the code for it. So the M's are the metro, the T is the tram, and then the thing at the bottom is the metro bus on the bottom right. And then there's also ferries, but they're not on this map. Also in the stops, you might see a certain stop, and then you see a code for one of these numbers, and that just means at that stop you can connect to that other metro or tram or metro bus. And then the F, B, and TF, these are other. You got cable car, and then there's a suburban line for them. That's the metro, actually. Anyway, this is kind of a look at the European side. You can see you can get all over Istanbul using this card for a really cheap price, and all you have to do is take a picture of the map. It's in every stop, so you just walk into any stop you see there, take a picture of it, and then whenever you're planning your trip and going somewhere, you can just look at the map, and you won't even need internet for that. So that's what I did. This is a look at the Asian side. Not as many trams, or actually there's no trams. But they're all metros. And actually there is one tram in Katakoi. But it's mostly metros and the bus. But you can also use the Istanbul card on the bus, but I didn't use the bus at all. And inside, you get a more detailed look at some of the lines. And then for each individual line, you'll get the whole line. You can see I was here in Dudulu, which is an interesting name there. And I was going towards Üsküdar. So one of the later episodes, you'll see what it looks like in Üsküdar. But I went on the tram, or actually the metro, and I realized that I didn't actually have to do this. I could have gone a much shorter route, but I didn't realize that, and I went all the way around. And this is what it looks like inside the metro. This is the Katakoi side. The metro stops and the metro itself is a lot newer there and nicer. So this is a little bit nicer than the ones on the European side. Those are a little bit older. They don't have as much of the newer technology. You can see we've got a really nice monitor to show you where you're going, and it lights up and it has all kinds of nice colors. So that's the newer one on the Asian side. And here's a problem you might run into on the metro bus. You may not notice the problem, but there should be bus stop names here on the right, but there's black boxes and no audio working, so you have no idea where you are. So if you run into this problem, then you have to look out the window and see the stops, and then you can follow along on the map at the top right to figure out where you can get off. So in case the technology isn't working on the metro bus, this is what you can do. And now we get to the banking. So I had a bank, but you won't be able to open a bank account because you need a residence card to open it. But I was trying to see if I could get a new card, and I wasn't able to. They said I need a residence permit for that. But they did allow me to take all the money out of the bank. I wasn't allowed to close the bank without residence permit. So this bank now will be open for eternity with 0 Turkish lira in it. But it was nice to get all that money out. Then I didn't have to withdraw from the ATM or exchange. And that's actually the next topic, ATM versus currency exchange. It's always a big topic. There are some people that mention strategies, try to create like a generalized strategy for all countries, but Really, you need to go country to country. It changes from different countries what you should do. But a lot of people recommend just withdrawing from the ATM. But in Turkey, that's actually not a good idea because all ATMs automatically charge an 8% fee. Plus, they have different exchange rates. That includes even if you're using your U.S. bank card. I used both of those cards, and I still had these bad rates and this 8% fee. So the Google rate was around 33, and the ATM rate was generally 28 to 31. The one with the best rate was Guarantee Bank and TEB Bank. So these are both, they have a green color. If you are going to withdraw from the ATM, I recommend them. They're closer to 31. Ish Bank is around 29, and some of those other banks were around 28. So definitely check the rate before you officially withdraw. And then the exchange kiosks on the street, they were generally 31 to 32, so they're actually pretty close to the Google rate. So my best advice is bring US dollars or your local currency and exchange it at the local currency exchanges, not the airport. Now, if you don't have euro, British pound, or US dollar, then you probably want to exchange your currency either at home or at the airport into one of these currencies and then exchange it into Turkish lira as you need it. If you still have euro or US dollars and at the end, then you can always keep that and exchange it in another country or just hold it long term. Might not be a bad idea. Okay, that's it.